Welcome back to the channel, folks. I hope you've had a Merry Christmas if you celebrated. Today we're gonna jump into the world of PixInsight, which for me is a completely new, realm of possibilities and a huge learning curve. A lot of people dread to learn it. So I still kind of need my support wheels while operating the software, but I think I get to a pretty reasonable outcome so far. Maybe not the best and most effective way to go about it, but it's the end result that matters. So let's jump in and have a look at how this is going. Alright, so first we start by stacking the RAWs. The data shot was in HSO, and we will be just using Deep Sky Stacker, since I'm most comfortable stacking just lights with that. And I do believe the frames, the lights here are calibrated already. They are from Telescope Live, by the way. So just saving under stacks, H stack. So it creates a 16-bit TIFF file and not the auto-saved 32-bit TIFF file. I don't know, there's probably in some instances a reason to go 32-bit, but I'm fine with 16 for now, plus it doesn't mess around in Photoshop then. So here I'm selecting the best light frame as a reference. Simply right click and set as reference. Then I uncheck this one. However, I now check the O3 data and it will automatically star align to the reference frame, which so far was the one with the best score given by Deep Sky Stacker. And then lastly, S2. Same thing, get rid of the O3. Make sure the reference frame is still active. You can verify that by this little star in brackets next to the score between the filter. And there we go. Save that as 16-bit TIFF S. And there we go. So, getting rid of the auto-saved 32-bit versions, and here we are in PixInsight now with our linear HSO data. Quickly get my tools ready here, and let's start by STF, giving it an unlinked auto stretch, just to see what we're working with. Looking pretty nice for the short amount of exposures. The H, that is. Obviously O3, there's barely anything visible. And the S filter, very noisy. Alright, so first things first. You can see some stacking artifacts. Let's go about it with a dynamic crop. Something like this. Composition wise, going from the left corner into the right bottom corner with the nebula. So just apply that to the other images first and then hit the green check mark to commit on the actual image so they all have the same crop. Alright, so some star removal with StarNet 2. I'm gonna skip ahead, no need to wait here 5 minutes. Alright, so the stars are gone. I kept the stars of the H data. And now a round of Noise Exterminator, RC-Astro, awesome plugins. Trialing also all of them at the moment. And I'm gonna skip ahead. Alright, so they are all done. Time for LRGB combination. For the L data, I'm gonna go with the H alpha, that is. And then for red, I go with the S data. For green, I go with the H alpha data. And for blue, I go with the oxygen data. Gonna use chrominance noise reduction, hit the wrong button, and let's go. Alright, here we are. Gonna close up those raw files. We're still linear, by the way. Gonna call that starless. Hit the wrong button again. Definitely still a learning curve, that app, but so far really awesome from what I can tell. So one cool thing about this app is that you can work with scripts, basically tons of little presets and all that stuff that do the hard pixel math for you while you just literally drag and drop it onto your image. So I did a background neutralization, a color calibration, and SCNR is to get rid of the green tint or green color cast. First, let's get rid of the magenta using script utilities, remove magenta stars. Now a GHS, generalized hyperbolic stretch, which I'm like trying to learn right now. It lets you stretch very specific parts. You can like basically click them, then send to SP, which is a symmetry point, and then have a very specific stretch. And the protect highlights here is really awesome as well. So it gives you a lot of control during your stretching. Just still takes a bit of getting used to for me. Apply, and let's go after those blue midtones and stretch the gas a little more. Before and after. Now the darker areas, let's see what we can get out of this. It's very short exposure time, so there's definitely a huge limitations as to how hard we can push this. Checking under the linear if any blacks are clipped yet, and there it starts to get clipped. So not too much wiggle room there. Close the preview, another round of SCNR, and that is already looking pretty dandy. Alright, so I'm gonna throw in my yellow mask script, which will, obviously it's a range selection for yellow, and then a couple of blur masks so the mask isn't as sharp. Drag the tab onto my actual image, mask, show mask, or Control and K, I believe. And then with this mask selected, open up a curves transformation, preview window, and now let's tweak some colors. The idea is to just affect the, in this case, yellows only, so your entire image doesn't turn red, green, blue, whatsoever. Gentle S-curve on the greens. Let's see a bit of vibrance. Bit of hue switch, maybe. Not hating it, not hating it. Alright, the second one would be too much, so reset the color transformation tool. Now we get rid of the mask since it has been basically modified, it's no longer useful. Let's try a blue mask. Couple of mask blurs on it. And again, pull the mask over. Now the mask is active, which you can see at the tab there. The tab is brown now, but because we unclicked show mask, we don't see the mask. But here, now you see we're only affecting the blues and cyans in the picture. Let's see. I don't want to make it too blue. Cyan is kind of nicer. Teal. Not too much teal though. gentle S-curve. That's alright, I guess. Healthy amount. Maybe the mask wasn't the best. I'll start over. Let's see. Saturation. Vibrance. Bit of light. A little bit of an S-curve for some contrast within the blues. Yeah. Let's go with that. Apply, reset, close up. Close the real-time preview. And here we are. Not too shabby. Alright, script, utilities, dark structure, enhanced script. Turn down the amount a little and let's run that. See, like really beautiful little extra detail there. Now it's time to save that up and bring it over to Photoshop. Alright, so back in Photoshop we have the stars layer. Now we can screen it to the image. Blend mode. Here we are, looking fine. Here's nebula only. Let's make a copy. Alright, what we're gonna do here. I definitely want to enhance the contrast and make it a bit more dramatic down the line, but let's start with a layer of noise reduction, color noise and normal noise. Not sure if that comes through on YouTube, but the color noise definitely has a good impact, and we'll also just some noise reduction. However, we're gonna mask it, so we decide where the noise reduction will be applied and where it shouldn't be. So a quick brush tool and relatively high flow, and let's just paint in some noise-free zones. And then switch the X key switches from black to white color, so we're making sure there's no noise reduction applied on the actual nebulosity. So make a stamp visible layer, do a copy of that, and this time let's play with some colors, more saturation in the oranges. Let's play with the hues a little, get a bit more color contrasts in there maybe. Tiny bit of clarity, tiny bit of dehaze. Don't overdo this, guys. I think it looks horrible when you have like 30 plus of clarity on your picture. It's not very a fine tool, I would say. Alright, so now we apply all this good stuff. Adjust the black levels of the picture here carefully with a levels adjustment layer. Maybe curves actually would be the better tool. Let's try that. Not too shabby. Let's get rid of the levels layer. Alright, so just gonna put back the stars and save it up. Now back in PixInsight we have the merged layer here, stars plus nebula. Looking already pretty nice and dandy. So let's put on a round of blur exterminator. Overdo it on the sharp non-stellar slider, of course, but I really don't want to overdo it on the sharpened stars, so I'm gonna dial that back and drag it onto the image and gonna fast forward because nobody wants to wait 5 minutes. Alright, here we are, before and after blur exterminator. Again, I didn't want to overdo it on the stars, but even zoomed out you can still see a difference, even if it's just 15% basically of the effect. And the non-stellar was nicely sharpened, got a bit more contrast. Another quick round of dark structure enhance script. Let's see what that can do for us. I like it. Alright, I would say time to bring it over to Photoshop one more time. Alright, back in Photoshop with our final. That's the difference between the last blur exterminator and final tweaks in PixInsight. Just gonna merge them down, make one final copy. And go for a round of Nick Collection plugins. If you're a landscape photographer, you probably know about these. If you're astrophotographer only, there's a chance you might not know about this one. It's kind of fun, maybe not really needed anymore nowadays, but it can be quite drastic, so a little bit goes a long way. Compare before and after, before and after. Bit of like contrast, and some have like too many options, so just gotta zero those out here real quick. Play with the highlight slider. Gives it a nice glow. Careful with the mid-tone slider and shadow slider I don't even touch. Quite some pop, possibly too much. Let's roll with it. Alright, before and after, pretty significant difference. Another round of camera raw filter, because now the blues kind of started to piss me off. So let's desaturate them. There we go. Let's put a color mask on it and kind of control that a little bit. Basically brush some of its effect out, but my flow is only on 3%, so it's gonna require a lot of brushing until you get like fully removed effects. There's a bit of like a blue, I guess, star halo left on my blacks, so I'm gonna get rid of that too. Alright, stamp down, one layer left. Make a copy. And let's do some dodging and burning. Enhance the dark structures, and in general the shadows just a little more, but again I'm on 2%, so it's gonna require a lot of brushing. Little bit goes a long way here, so really don't want to overdo that. It doesn't look natural anymore. And before you zoom back out and do a before and after, it's even sometimes hard to say if you're doing anything at all, but just wait for it. Look at that, before and after. Maybe a little bit of brightening up some highlights. Kind of go for a bit glow kind of situation. I like it. More drama, always good. So before, after, obviously quite a difference. Let's do one more copy, go for the high pass. Here we want to basically don't overdo it and select the pixel radius. Basically, once you start seeing some kind of detail poke through the preview there. Alright, so we're gonna throw a mask on this because we want to control where this effect is gonna be visible. So just gonna paint in some parts here where I want to have the sharpening effect, which by the way is in the blend mode overlay, and if it's still too strong we can play with the opacity. So just gonna basically paint in some sharpness. Before and after, that's definitely something for pixel peepers. And if you want to throw in your signature, a bit of object information, name, then you can do that. And that's about it. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of this new format. I'm sure there's like a never-ending learning curve to this app anyway, so there's basically a lot of content that could be created around PixInsight and workflows and all that crazy stuff, really. So for now, I'm just happy that I get something out of it that is at least, presentable. Certainly not 100% technically correct. Anyway, let me know what you think. Leave a thumbs up if you like this. Double tap the dislike if you dislike this, and subscribe if you haven't already. Happy New Year and see you next year. Cheers!